Hello, welcome to Cypress Automation. This is Shurful. This lecture is about to learn custom commands in Cypress. Since Cypress comes with its own API library and it has lots of commands. So basically, Cypress scripting, it's 90%, it's all its own command. But on the top, we can make our own command, in terms of our requirement. So we'll see how we can create our own command or custom command in Cypress. So first we'll get some sort of idea what does it mean custom command. If we go to Cypress their official site, you can see there's a custom commands, and here is a little idea about it. A great place to define or overwrite commands in your Cypress support commands file. We'll see where that file, pretty soon. Since it is loaded before any test files are evaluated by an important statement in your support file. So what does it by default? What does it mean? It means, in Cypress, they have one command file, commands.js file inside a support folder, and we can write our own custom command or overwrite some of the default commands. So that time our writing command will get priority. And the interesting part, it's when you run our script, always by default that file, this command.js file, automatically get scanned. That's the nature or architecture of the Cypress. So if you have any command like this, over you can see there is some of the example, the syntax to writing a custom command. You will say Cypress.Commands.add, that then you can give a name, say, and then you call back a function. So you can put any function name, you can give a function name and then some of the argument related to the function. And the good part is, like, whenever you need that command in your testing script, you can directly call that command or function. You don't have to import that any class or anything, because Cypress by default scan this file, this command file, before it runs the script, your test cases. So it will have a by default knowledge about all the custom command or this command.js file. So all you have to just call that the function name you added, and it will automatically able to sync that file or sync that command, and will do the job as is you design your custom command. Let's see an example. So we're in our VS Code editor. I create one spec file. I give a name command.spec.js. So before that I have to write some custom command. So as you were saying over here, you can see in a command is Cypress support command.js file. In this file we have to write our custom command. So if you go to over here on your Cypress, you can see there is a support folder here, and there is a command, and there is index. There's a two file. Open that command.js file. So let's open it, and here is giving you some of the example already. You can see how to write as per their document, and also they give you some example over here, right? You can make your own command. To do this, you have to write, this is the syntax, Cypress.Commands.add, then you put, say, your function name and some of the argument you can pass, and when you will call this function from your test case, you will pass the actual value as per the argument you type over here. So let's create our own custom command. So we're going to write a command or function for our login screenshot, login username and password, so that every time we need to enter login to our login function, we'll just call this custom command or login function from here to our test script. So we don't have to write again and again the same function to enter the username and password and click on the login button. Okay, rather than you can just write your own function and just call that function. So how are we going to do this? We'll follow this their syntax. So we'll type Cypress, we'll do Cypress dot, then commands. You can see already comes over here, command dot, it's saying add, so we're going to add, and we'll give a name, same name, say login, and then we'll pass some parameters. So what would be the parameter? So there will be two arguments I'm going to pass. One is I'll give a one for a username or email address, so I will give a argument name is username, and another one would be for the password. I will give a name password, right? And then you have to follow exactly the same way they did. So fat pad, and then right, and after that we have to give a body. So here is the body. So body, inside a body, when you know this is, let's go see our application. So our application, this is our login page, and here we're going to enter username. So we'll define this area, locate this element, and then enter some username, and then we'll find this element, also enter the password, and click on the login button, right? So before we do this, since this is a repeated task, like you may need to log in and log out for this function maybe 10 times, 20 times for your all end-to-end test cases, right? So number of times you have to use this test cases, so it's better to clear your cookies, so that you don't have the previous history, and every time you run your test cases, individual test cases, it will have an individual new story, other than the cookies will hold the previous story, right? So it's better to clear your story. So that's why in this function, the login function I'm creating, I'm gonna say first I will create the all cookies. So to do this, the clear cookies, you can see there is a default command that will clear all the cookies, and then I will say clear local storage, also clear local storage, and then now I will get, I will locate the username field, this one, right? So let's inspect it. So here is ID, this is the ID. So let's go. So since it's ID, here is the locator for the username box, right? And then I will type, so what I'm going to type, I'm going to type the actual username or email address. So I'm going to pass, so this actual value or parameter I will pass when I will call this function from my actual test script. So right now I'm gonna pass is for the username, this is the argument, same argument. So when I'll pass the actual value, it will be replaced with this username, and it will be replaced also get the actual value over here, right? The same way I will say sci.get, and I will have the locator for password. What's the password? ID pass, there's an ID too. Okay, okay, input password. Okay, so that's the password, right? And then I have to pass the password, but in this case I have to pass the argument I pass here, right? And after that I will click on the submit or content button, so this one, login button. So let's click on the login button. So here is a there is a ID also, I can use this one. So site.get, or let's use, instead of that I'm gonna, how about I will use the text. The text is login, right? So contains, I'm gonna use, either way it's up to you. You can use just a ID, or you can use sci.contains method, right? In contains, it means you are going to pass the text. What's the contents of the text is login this, and then I will click on that button, right? So that should be good enough, right? So save it. So I created my custom function name is login. So now I will get back to my test script or test class, I mean our test specs. So where I have a describe, so here is my URL to visit that website, right? codeinbox automationlab.com. This is the actual exactly the same URL, this one. And now I'm going to do the login function, test the login function. So I will say okay, and here is also, you can see my it block. I said should log into the application using custom command, right? So this is an example of using custom command. So here I will going to call the custom function, right? Sci dot, what was the function name? Login, right? Isn't it the same? Login, yep. Login here, and then I have to pass the parameter, right? So there was a 2 argument here, username and password. So I have to pass the 2 parameter, right? So which is the actual parameter, say. So but I'm going to pass some invalid username password because I don't want to give pass or show you the my right username password for my account. So I'm going to pass the invalid password, username password, and then it will fail. But my objective is to show you how is that working. If it's even invalid, it shouldn't pass, but it will able to call that function. That's the main objective, to see this how the custom function can works, right? So let's pass the I will give you some invalid name, say no name, and then the password I will give, say I will give 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so it is invalid, so it's not gonna pass, right? It will not able to log in, but you will see it will able to call that function and detect that element, web element, username, password, and enter this value up there. So it means the function is working. That's the main thing we want to know, right? And after that, let's do it. So let's see what really happened. So if I go and if I say no name, and then I give some random, so what will happen? It will give you some error. Okay, let's go and we'll find a later on the error. Okay, and okay, let's go, or let's put in one assertion also. So it will give me an error. It will give us, but when when maybe you will see the error, it will show you error, but it will give you a different error when you run through the Cypress, because of there's a cookies limitation, or there is some cookies policy. You will see, but it will show you error. So we'll verify the error. It shows the error message, like just only the error, not others. Okay, so let's see if I spy the error. So what is the where is the code? Invalid error. Okay, login ID error, or okay, there's an ID. So let's see, I will do some assertion, very simple assertion, sci dot. So since it's invalid, it's supposed to give me an error. So I will locate that error, and I will make sure in that error it has a contain error message. Okay, so this is ID, so this is the one that to locate the error message. And then I will say should. So if I want to do some assertion, so I'm going to use should command, and I will say should contain, should contain, and I'm not going to put the whole big error message, because as I said, when you are going to run, you will see it. When I'm going to execute through the Cypress, it will give you error, but also it will give you some some extra error. It's regarding the cookies. So I don't want to show or resolve that kind of stuff. Just the main thing is to show you it shows error, and I will just compare with that just a string. It's called error, because no matter what type of error it shows over here, it will show you this text, right? This is string, just this one error. So I'm going to compare with this simple error, right? This one. So that should pass, like it will find an error which have a content error string or message, right? Okay, so let's save it, and run it. So open our test runner, and then where is our command is specs. So that's our test cases, right? A spec file. So open it, run it. Okay, it's launched. You see? Did you see it? Here we go. I think you saw it, right? The left side first is loaded the page, is the same URL, and then it's called the function, because inside the function, you just please try to understand, inside the function, login function or custom command function we created, it has a clear cookies, right? Method. So it does the clear cookies, and then it has a clear local storage, so it's clear that part, and then you can see the right side, the output on the screenshot over here, right? And username, user login, so it find the username or email address field, and it's type no name. You can see the before and after screenshot, right? No name, that's I typed, I pass is no name, and then it gets the password field and the type 1 2 3 4 5 6, and then click on the login button. You can see it. This is the click function. It's clicked up there, and then it means this is it's a form, it's submit form. It's kind of username, the login function is kind of form in HTML or web application world, it says, right? The development world. So it's a page loaded, and then it's find the error. So it's find this error. If you see the left side, it's able to detect the error whole element, and then it's expect the assertion it does, and it find in this error text message. You see, this is a different error than we saw in the application when we enter wrong username password, because I have to enable some of the cookies, the blocking, right? So I have to do this one. But other than it's supposed to show you error, but this error, this message, this part is match. So I compare with this just simple error, this in string, and it pass, right? So that's the very simple way to understand the Cypress command. So this way you can make your own command or own function, like a reusable function that you need probably again and again in your test script, in different test classes and test script, so that you don't have to write the same function again, other than writing in, make your custom command and just call that function. And it's a sweet part is that you don't have to import anything, import any class, anything, because as I said at the beginning, that commands.js file, it's automatically by default scanned before it's run any one of your script. This is the mechanism or technology of Cypress. So it gets a priority since it has the knowledge already about your custom command.js file. If you just call any one of the custom your function, it will automatically will sync, will get the knowledge, and will do the job as per your command. Okay, so I hope it's very clear and understandable, and thank you so much. Stay tuned, watch the next tutorial. Have a good one. Bye bye.